You know someone who can have one drink and stop. You know someone else who can't. Same bar, same night, same glass. But their brains are not playing the same game. The real answer is far stranger than willpower. For most of history, this question didn't need an answer. There was no sugar, no slot machines, no pull of a phone screen at 2 a.m. Your ancestors lived in a world where almost nothing was that rewarding, that fast, that often. Addiction is not a flaw in your character. It's a mismatch between an ancient brain and a modern world built to exploit it. Here's what your brain actually rewards, not pleasure. Wanting. In the 1990s, a researcher named Kent Berridge ran a series of experiments on rats and found something nobody expected. He separated two systems in the brain that everyone assumed were the same thing. One system makes you like something, the other makes you want it. Dopamine, it turns out, barely touches liking at all. It runs wanting, and wanting can spiral completely loose from pleasure. You can want a cigarette you don't even enjoy anymore. You can crave a scroll that makes you feel worse. That's not contradiction. That's the wanting system, running solo, with the liking system left behind. So why do some people's wanting systems spiral and others don't? Genetics load part of the gun. Twin studies estimate that 50% of addiction risk is heritable. Some people are simply born with a dopamine system that responds harder, faster, hungrier. But 50% leaves an enormous amount unexplained. And that's where the story gets interesting. In the 1970s, a psychologist named Bruce Alexander ran an experiment that history nearly forgot. Earlier research had shown rats in small, isolated cages would compulsively self-administer morphine until it killed them. It looked like proof that the drug itself was the monster. Alexander suspected something else. He built what became known as Rat Park, a large, colorful enclosure with other rats to socialize with, wheels to run on, space to explore. Rats in Rat Park, given the exact same morphine water, mostly ignored it. The isolated rats in bare cages used it compulsively. The drug hadn't changed. The cage had. Think about what that means for you. Addiction doesn't just live in a molecule. It lives in the gap between what your environment gives you and what your nervous system needs. Connection, purpose, novelty earned through effort, not handed to you in an instant. Your ancestors got dopamine hits from things that took work, a successful hunt, a found source of water, a hard-won piece of social status. The reward was real, but it was rare, and it was earned. Now look at your world. Rewards arrive constantly, instantly, and for free. A notification, a like, a dopamine drip disguised as a feed. Your ancient wanting system was calibrated for scarcity. It was never built for a world of infinite, immediate supply. There's a third piece, and it might be the most important one. A physician named Gabor Maté, after decades working with some of the most severely addicted patients in Vancouver, kept noticing the same pattern. Almost every one of them carried early trauma, not always dramatic trauma, sometimes just an early, quiet absence of safety, of being truly seen. His argument isn't that trauma causes addiction directly. It's that addiction is often the nervous system's best attempt at self-soothing, when nothing better was ever offered. The drug, the drink, the screen, the game, isn't the disease. It's a solution to a pain that came first. So put the three pieces together. A genetic dial that's turned up higher in some people than others. An environment that's either rich in real connection, like Rat Park, or bare like an isolated cage. And a nervous system that either learned early it was safe, or learned early it had to numb something just to get through the day. Two people can drink from the exact same glass and walk two entirely different roads, because the glass was never really the variable. This is why willpower was always the wrong lens. You don't fix a rat park problem by asking a rat to try harder. You fix it by changing the cage. And that reframes the question, doesn't it? Because if addiction isn't a character flaw, then recovery isn't either. It's not about punishing the wanting system into silence. It's about giving it something real to want. Connection instead of isolation. Effort that pays off instead of rewards that arrive too easily. Safety, so the nervous system finally stops bracing. You know someone who can have one drink and stop. You know someone else who can't. It was never really about the drink.